Meeting. Today's January 14, and let's kind of rock and roll. The agenda has been provided. Thank you all for being here. I know that there's a lot of weather issues and it's cold as everything here, and I'm guessing it's cold as everything where you are too. So I'm glad you're here. Again, welcome. The minutes are provided at attachment 2. I know you've already looked at them. Is there a motion that those minutes be approved?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Now, who moved to approve? I'm sorry.
Harwell.
Betsy. Oh, yeah, Harwell.
Harwell, and then Betsy was a second.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Are there any is there any discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. We're supposed to look at the statistics next, but because of the way Dana is going to have a lot of things to say to us, I'm just going to give you the committee appointment list report. There were 3 people who were scheduled to roll off the committee. That was Linda, Mark, and me. I talked, the tradition is that you can be reappointed for a second term. I talked to each of these people. I talked to Mark and Linda, and they all agreed to serve another term. Thankfully, I was fine with serving another term. I submitted that information to Dwight, and an order has been sent down from the court making all of those appointments. So thank you, Linda and Mark, for agreeing to serve another term, and we are grateful for your service. Now, Dana, the statistics for the Rule 31 mediator, the AOC staff report, and I think you probably need to give the communications and pro bono reports because neither Cindy nor Sarah are here.
Okay.
So you just take it away for a while, and if you need any action, let us know.
Okay. So as of December 31st, you could see you have 1,187 mediators listed. For the 2025 renewal season, as of last week when I sent this report out on Friday, you had 903 already renewed for 2025. That's higher than last year, and it's higher than the first year I was here. So in the last 3 years, this is your highest renewal rate at this early on in the season. So we're really happy about that. The medical debt online dispute resolution pilot update. Number 1, the SJI grant, that's a technical grant that we had for this pilot, did expire the end of December. Number 2, the committee and the AOC are at a point where there's this discussion as to next steps with how they're going to build the platform. The pilot has been successful. That's what I want you to take away from today. With Erlanger Hospital, it was successful. We want this to be a permanent dispute resolution platform for people to use specifically with medical debt and long-term to build it out to other debt collection processes to avoid court. So at this point, the AOC is deciding next steps as to how to build the platform that's the most efficient and, of course, economical for the state to do that. Anybody have any questions about the platform or anything?
I think we're good.
Okay. And then for communications, I apologize. For communications, as you can see, in 2024, we published 2 newsletters, what we called a spring and a fall newsletter. Then also, maybe this helped, but in order to get the renewals moving and getting them filed, we have, as of last Friday, sent out 6 renewal notices via our MailChimp platform. So maybe that's one of the things, but those are auto-generated. We do put the language in there if you've already renewed, but Um, so it's just to keep those, to remind them that the sooner they renew, the less they have to pay on the fee. And then I'm going to work with Cindy and the communications committee to set goals for 2025, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And why don't you roll into the pro bono report?
At this time, we've had one pro bono renewal fee waiver that has been approved for 2025. As you know, that was a new ADR policy that was approved. And so it's not as simple as approving the fee waiver. The other thing that the mediator has to do is then show consistently for the year 2025 that they're going to live up to the requirements of the waiver, which is provide a certain number of pro bono hours to a CMC, and I will track that. So I've created a process to track that. And then I need to also work with the committee chair, which is Sarah Fiegel, to set 2025 goals for their committee as well.
Super, super. Betsy, it's you, Rule and Policy Review Committee.
There's not a whole lot to report. Dana and
Mhm.
the staff have been going through policies and we're trying to revise and consolidate and make sure that we don't have policies that are either conflicting with other policies or rules or are just outdated. And that's just an ongoing project that we're working on.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I can add that there will be, just to let Betsy know, the Training and Education Committee and the Credentials Committee have talked about revising and they're going to send it to this committee, the policy on when your renewal is due, the December 31st policy. So they're going to be sending that to the Rule and Policy Review Committee in the next quarter.
Right. I think that's a real good step. Dana and I have discussed that. There's so much confusion about what happens on December 31, and it's just kind of a hurry, ride that fire truck situation. And so maybe a clarification of that we have one date on which everything is due, and it's due on March 31, let's say. So I think that's what we'll be hearing from this committee. Am I speaking heresy, Dana?
Yes.
No,
Nope.
that's correct.
You're
Okay.
correct.
Okay, Betsy, you are entitled to a short report with all the work you've done this year. So thank you again for everything you've done.
Thank you.
The grievance committee. Oh boy, we're getting into some fun stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Dana?
Yes. Per your agenda, the first grievance listed was disposed by the appointed committee on December 12th, 2024. The second grievance that you see there actually went as far as a hearing. So the committee, in order to make a decision on the complaint, determined that a hearing was needed, and that hearing was held pursuant to Rule 31 on January the 8th, 2025. It has been taken under advisement. The committee met this past Friday and discussed the language they want in the opinion order or the opinion. And I've been tasked with compiling that and submitting a draft to them in the next few days.
Okay, beautiful. Any questions on that? Okay.
Nope.
Ethics Advisory Committee. Floyd is AWOL today. Can you take care of that one too, Dana?
Mm-hmm. On this one, you've got two advisory opinions that are still pending from last quarter. AOC staff have been working to set these. There has been discussion. So it's not that they've sat there. There has been discussion. It's been through emails. We just need to get these two committees to work with us, and let's get some meeting dates, and then they will be able to issue their decisions.
Okay, super. And then those decisions brought to us then for ratification?
I
Or-
think pursuant to the rule, no, but
Okay,
yeah,
that's
they're
good.
presented at, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we will have, we've kind of blown through a lot of things, but our next two agenda items are going to be lengthy. And so, buckle your seatbelts for Marcus and for Lowry. But, Marcus, I'll give you the Training Education Committee report. You're going to talk about the postmortem on the workshop. I thought it was great, and everybody I talked to thought it was great. The only hitch I heard was from the online people regarding the quality of the audio on occasion.
Yeah, thank you, John. And that's kind of the feedback that we got back. I'll yield to Ms. Schmidt if she wants to pull up the attachments and talk about the numbers from the post workshop as compared to 2024 and 2023. Go ahead, Ms. Schmidt.
All right. As you can see, we just did a little data compilation for you. So in 2023, our registration database reported 174 registrations. I'm pretty competitive, so in 2024, I set a goal of 200, and we actually met and exceeded the goal. As you can see, we had 224. We had, according to the information we've received, 144 were online and 80 were in person. And I would point out that of that 80, that also includes staff and commissioners and speakers and Justice Tarwater. So everybody has to register in order for us to do head counts and to do catering. So I just want to let you know that's what that number is. Now, that is a significant increase because last year we tracked 51 in persons. So we did have an increase. Several of the commissioners did ask about the surveys and what the responses were. So I thought it was best just to attach those for you so that you can look at those when you've got some time. But overall, we did have positive response. A lot of times, what happens is during the course of the presentations, especially the online participants, they will let us know their issues then. And so what I can tell you is it's just been a thing the last 2 or 3 times I've done this is it's the sound. And talking with our communications team, so you've got in the world of the internet, apparently with all the wiring and feed, you run this through, the presentation, it's in the room, and then you run it around the room, and then you've got to run it out to all of the people who are connecting, and then we're pulling from the school's internet. So it's been a sound issue. But other than that, they love the speakers. Anything to do with AI or they like the simulations a lot. It's just like they really are interested in what you, as basically you're the cream of the crop mediators for the state of Tennessee, you're on the commission, what you think and what you do in mediations and what your recommendations and your opinions are. So it was very well received, the subject matter this year.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
What about the 2025 workshop, Marcus?
Well, this was a matter of discussion with the people with the Training and Education Committee. And again, there was a couple of things that were brought up. If you look at the attachment, a possible presentation format change is they propose all virtual in 2025 instead of in person. And I'll let Ms. Schmidt, and I'll yield to Ms. Schmidt to go further into that.
Noel and I, and speaking with communications, Nick is on here and Lanthy, and they were with us the whole time. And we were just talking. This was the 3rd workshop I've done. It's this, Noel, is it your 3rd as well or 2nd? I think it's Noel's 3rd too. And
Yes.
so we've been at Belmont, we've been at Lipscomb, we've been back at Belmont. And so what we would propose is we were just thinking to best utilize our time, to best utilize the funding that the ADRC has, and then provide the best quality of a presentation. We would suggest 100% virtual. I know this year we had 80 in person, but we had a couple of large panels, including staff. So because I added people at the end because we knew we had extra catering that we could that waited to pass the deadline. But what we think is we could do this virtual and it would just be a much better quality presentation. It is a lot of work for approximately 50 to 60 people. And then, we never know when we get there if the room's going to have air. This year we had an issue with the secondary room. It was a little bit smaller than we expected. We had a couple of issues. Belmont is wonderful, but we wanted to set up the night before because it was Lanthe, you can jump in, but just to run the wiring and set up the audio or in the video takes so many hours before this
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah, it took a while for Nick and I, the day before to kind of set it all up to make sure every
Yeah.
room was okay. I know there were issues with audio, but it's kind of something we just couldn't control every second of the conference, and I think it would be better to be able to control it at the AOC or something like that.
hmm Yeah. And then once they set up all the equipment, there was an issue. Belmont at first wasn't going to let us because they had concerns because they don't lock the doors. And then there was an issue of, responsibility for the equipment. So those were some things that we didn't foresee. And Belmont, again, is wonderful. They did not charge the ADRC to use the facilities. And we very much appreciate that. But we're just thinking about the time and effort that goes into this for that small amount of people that come in person. And then the catering, and we haven't counted up the travel for and the expenses for the in-person presenters, not counting the ADRC. We haven't done that, but the catering was almost $4,000. And quite a bit of that wasn't really utilized to the best that we thought it could be. The alternative is we can do this at the AOC office. They have excellent audio and visual equipment. Everybody that would present or if would come and you park under the building, which is at no cost, and you do this in the building, and then you're there for the day. We film it live. And then we just have much more control over the audio visual and engagement with your virtual attendees, which we kind of in the last few years have felt like they're also, it's hard because they have questions and they want to participate. And then in the time frame we have, and then you have the people in person who, live who are speaking on the microphone. And then we have those issues. We could better control the participation of the virtual attendees. So that's our thoughts. Ultimately, it's up to you. We just wanted to present it. I did speak with Anne Louise. She is my supervisor. She supports all virtual. So it's out there for you guys. In the end, you make the decision. But we thought we would just let you know what's been going on behind the scenes and some things we think that could improve the presentation.
Before we have some additional discussion, Dana and I have talked about this, and I was quite compelled by her suggestion that we go virtual on this. I am a people person. I like to see people face to face, but if we look at the numbers in 2023, 2.5 to 1 were online, and then in 2024, almost double our in-person attendees were online. And I mean, that spoke to me. The quality of the sound spoke to me because we've dealt with the AOC before on the sound issues, and everything that they control on the sound is fantastic. The things they can't control are, well, they just can't control them, and they're a challenge. The third thing that really kind of that I like about this proposal is that we save a bunch of money, and we save it in staff time and effort. We save it in the concessions, which, you know, Belmont and Lipscomb are lovely places, but the concessions at each place I thought were pretty marginal. And so we save all that money. And the fourth thing, and that I was concerned about, again, I'm all into collegiality, and I really want us to have opportunities for our people to meet, mingle, talk, just just to have FaceTime with each other. But it looks like we're looking at about a third of the people who attend are only those FaceTime people. But what I suggested to Dana is that with the money we serve, why don't we do a little road show across the state, have an hour of CLE put on by the commission, and then have a little social hour afterwards in each grand division, run to Knoxville, have something at the ALC in Nashville, and have something in West Tennessee. And, if we're looking for space that's free, I've got space in each of the grand divisions that you can use my offices if you need to. But, I thought this was a really good idea. I mean, I was concerned with, a little less collegiality, but I think we can create collegiality opportunities with perhaps the receptions across the state. And but we wanted to throw it open to you all and see what you thought.
I'll start. I don't know if you all took the opportunity to look at the survey, but the only negative comments, well, there were a couple of other ones, but generally speaking, the negative comments were all about either the audio or the size and conditions in the rooms. And the other thing I think that I asked in another committee meeting was how many people were local who came to, I don't think anybody from out of town other than the ADRC commissioners came from out of town to attend. They were all people from Nashville. So, it's not as if you're getting the whole state coming together in one room for one day. When this was first suggested, I was against it, but the more I think about it, the more I think, for various reasons, including saving money and getting a better quality product, I'm in favor of it now. I generally am not, but today I'm gonna say I think I have to agree, John, that
Okay. Well, thank you,
I'm a
Beth.
people person. I want to see people and talk to them, but in this situation, we're there to learn something, not necessarily to socialize.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea of those receptions across the state.
Yes.
Chuck and I were both feeling strongly about going all virtual. You miss that networking and that talking to making new friends and collaborating during the breaks and that type of thing. But if we could go virtual with the whole workshop and then do something else that would help with the person to person, I think that's the best of all worlds.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I have one other comment though, John. I saw you enjoying those cookies at that.
Well, the cookies were good. Thank you.
My only reservation is kind of twofold. One, that we would lose some of the networking opportunities that I personally have found to be so valuable. As a commissioner, I attend because it's our program. As a non-commissioner, I attend because of the content of the program and the opportunity to network with some very influential mediators. So I'm concerned about that. But John, to your point of having a social event following a session in each division, I don't know how that would save money, because if we were to charge hotel expense, travel expense to attend in the 3 different, divisions, and enough people did that, that would run some pretty heavy dollars, I would think.
I'm not sure it would save money, but I was just trying to create in addition to a virtual workshop, I was just trying to create some networking opportunities.
I would support that.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
Mark Harwell, I agree with all the above. I think we should put our best foot forward and get rid of the negatives, which seems to be related to the venue, and do it well remotely, and explore ways that we can get together. Because I was with Chuck on a call a few days ago, and I really hate losing completely the opportunity to get together with friends and to make new friends.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I mean, I would say just look at how it's trending. If we're looking at the last couple of workshops, more and more people are doing virtual interaction as far as their knowledge for the workshop than anything. But I agree with Chuck. I had some reservations on, well, how are we going to have this interpersonal network that the workshop does provide? As long as we can put our heads together and come up with some logical ways, I think we can have the best of both worlds. So we just wanted to make sure that this was presented and you guys had some time to have some discussion on it. Thank you.
And one other thing on it, maybe we do 2025, maybe we do it online only and just stick our toe in the water and keep our minds open about 2026, that perhaps we should, maybe it's we'll change our mind and go back to, in person if the online thing is a problem or whatever. But I think that, a 1 year online experiment will not hurt us.
I agree.
Okay, I think that we now again, I'm not going to ask for a vote on this, but what I'm hearing is general consensus that let's try the online for 2025 and then make a decision after that as to what we're going to do with 26 and going forward. So let's go to our training waiver request, Marcus.
Yes. All right.
Real quick, just for the record. So I've got that. What about the 3 training networking opportunities for across the state? Are we interested in that? Would the commission like for Noelle and I to work with the mediators in each grand division on something?
For my part, I think that it's I guess I sound a little egotistical about this because I came up with the idea, but I think it's a great opportunity if we can physically pull it together.
Noelle and I are happy. We're fine with doing that. Our budget allows for us to travel as well. We just need the green light to go, Mr. Chair, so that we can start working with the commissioners in each grand division about when, where, what, who, and how to get the word out there.
I'll volunteer to be on that committee or talk about how to do those. I think that's a really good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I will too.
Does anybody disagree with this plan? Okay, I think you've got your support there, so go forth and multiply.
All right.
Okay.
Marcus, training waiver request.
All right. So there were 8 training waiver requests for review that our subcommittee looked at this quarter. And we came together on January 6th. And first 2 I'll talk about, and then we'll get to the lapsed request waivers. So the first training waiver request is applicant 165744. The applicant is applying for a family law listing. Applicant is seeking a waiver of Rule 31 training requirements for said listing. Applicant submitted extensive work history in family legal practice and a LLM in child and family law in lieu of the training certificate. The committee determined the experience of this applicant and the master's degree that was presented exceeded the training offered in a traditional family law training course. And we felt it was substantially equivalent to the Rule 31 requirements. So thus, the committee's recommendation for this applicant is to approve the training waiver.
I move we approve this training waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you
All
go,
right.
Marcus.
So moved. All right. So the next applicant is 165461. And this applicant is applying for a family listing. The applicant is seeking a waiver for a Rule 31 training requirements for a domestic violence designation. The applicant submitted long-term experience in lieu of training as basis for the waiver report. This applicant is already listed in another state, is in good standing, and has no disciplinary history. So we, as a committee, recommend to approve this training waiver.
Is
I
there a
move to
motion?
approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, you go.
All
Why don't
right.
you do all of these as one motion on C, Marcus?
Correct. Yes, sir. All right. So these next applicants are in regards to a lapse situation. I'll talk about the ADRC may grant a training waiver upon appropriate applications for those whose credentials have elapsed for failure to comply with CMU requirements pursuant to Rule 3115A, for failure to timely renew under Rule 3115B, or for any other reason deemed sufficient by the Commission. After applying the waiver criteria to these requests, the committee recommends that 165056, applicant 165652, applicant 164940, applicant 165003, applicant 164806, and applicant 165002. The committee all recommends to approve all these training waivers.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve those
Okay,
6
Second.
training waivers.
second? Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, you got it, Marcus. Thank you for a great report.
No problem.
Okay, Lowride, you go into it with your 101 new Rule 31 mediator application.
This is a big quarter here. Lots of mediator applications, and I think there's nothing but good news about that. So 89 of the applications are recommended for approval without dispute. That's tab number 9, civil 165024 through 165347, and family 165371 through 165760. Is there a motion to approve those 89?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor of approving those 89 applications, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. 8 applications had training waivers, and we've already dealt with those above. The training and education committee we already approved these. So I would like to just list applicant 165744 and 165461, and then the ones listed 165056 through 165002. Those are all ones that the training committee has approved, and that we have just approved their applications. And is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving those 8 training issues, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, great. The next issue that we have is always the hardest, and that's the ones with disciplinary issues. But the good news in this case is that people are either hearing I know they're not hearing what we talk about in the commission meetings, but I think Dana and Noel and everyone is getting the word out that if you just explain and respond and tell us what happened and help us determine if you are unsuitable to be a mediator, that's what we want. And so many people weren't doing that, and it was annoying and it was difficult. And all of these gave really, really good explanations. And our committee has reviewed all that, and we recommend approval of 165,571, 165,548, 165,622, and 165,712. We recommend approval of those 4. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving those 4 applications with disciplinary issues, say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Lori, you kind of came through like a champ. So you
Well,
plowed
it's with the help of a lot of other people, so.
101 mediator applications. Golly.
Yeah.
And Linda is in the house too to hear all that good news. So welcome, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Thank you. Sorry, I was late.
Okay, closing remarks. Dana, have you got anything else you need to add? I guess that's a no. Anybody else?
Hold on just a minute. I was muted.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, Speedy. We're going to adjourn in just a second. And then if I could ask the training and education and the credentials committee members to stay on so that we can schedule you for your April meetings. And Noel, did I miss any other scheduling?
No, not unless you need to do more, ethics, but Floyd's not here, so.
Yeah, we'll do it later.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have anything else for the good of the order?
Well, I just have something real quick, and that is, I'm glad we made that change to the rule, because I know 2 of the people who were subject to the lapse situation who are now able to mediate under Rule 31 again, and they will be very happy.
Great.
It was a good decision. It was a
Yeah,
good decision.
it was. I'm not sure where that originated, but wherever it came from.
Chuck
it was great. It was
Hill.
Chuck.
Right.
He would not, Chuck was like, we're doing this. He was
I know.
a strong advocate for fairness.
That's right.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chuck.
Chuck.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
Dana. Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you,
Thank you
Chuck.
for the genesis of that. And Betsy, thank you for all your work too.
John, I had
Okay.
one comment.
Yes.
We might, just as an afterthought, we might want to consider moving the annual meeting to each of the 3 grand divisions on a rotating basis.
Okay. Okay.
I can go to Memphis anytime I have a grandbaby there,
You know.
once a
Okay.
week. Okay.
Next week? Okay.
Okay. Well, we can all ride with Low Rise. She's got a big car, and she'll throw us all in there, and we just have a big time all the way to Memphis.
There you go. There
We
you
can
go.
stay at the Peabody.
Oh boy, not me, but you can go right ahead. Okay. Next Rule 31 application is April 1. Our next quarterly meeting is Tuesday, April 15 at this time, 10:30 a.m. If those times don't work, let us know. But I think folks, you all are just great. We have covered a ton of territory already today and gotten a lot done, and our staff's head is spinning because they've got so much stuff to do right now. And I appreciate all of your work. And with that,
John, what is the date before? I know the next meeting is April 15. What was the other date you threw out?
April 1 is the Rule 31 deadline, application deadline. And you've already complied with that,
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Is there a motion that we adjourn?
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
I count that as a move and a second and a hallelujah on that. So, thanks, everybody, and I hope it's warmer when we see you again.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Stay
you.
on
We're
credentials,
staying
stay
on.
on
Okay, okay.
training and education. Lanthy, are we
Do you want me
off
to get the
YouTube?
live cut? Yeah, let me text Nick.
All right, I'm gonna make sure we're no longer streaming.